Saluton from BA. This is a Rorschach Multilateral update from the 23rd of July 2024. A summary of what's going down in the world's major multilateral institutions. To kick things off, Jens Stoltenberg, NATO Secretary-General, announced on Thursday the 18th that a new NATO command center to manage support for Ukraine will be operational in Germany starting in September. Speaking at a European political community meeting in Britain, Stoltenberg explained that the command center, consisting of 700 personnel, will be responsible for coordinating security assistance and training for Ukraine, as well as organizing the efforts of NATO allies. Still in Europe, there has been a consequential election on Thursday the 18th. Ursula von der Leyen was elected for another term as the head of the European Commission. She portrayed her re-election as a win for her supporters who advocate for European unity, Ukraine, and the rule of law. This re-election ensures steady leadership for the 27-nation bloc as it confronts crises like the war in Ukraine, climate change, migration, and housing shortages. Von der Leyen underscored that she and her allies are dedicated to building a stronger Europe, focusing on prosperity, security, and defense. A solid majority of 401 lawmakers in the 720-seat legislature supported the German Christian Democrat after she promised to be a strong leader for Europe during these times of crisis and polarization. Speaking of polarization, Hungary is straying away from the rest of the EU, an ongoing trend exemplified at the United Nations on Tuesday the 16th. It was the only EU member that did not sign a joint statement criticizing Russia's behavior in the UN Security Council. The session, organized by Russia, focused on multinational coordination to promote justice and democracy in a sustainable way. The statement, signed by around 60 countries, called out Russia's hypocrisy given its aggressive actions in Ukraine and stressed that the meeting should not overshadow Russia's severe breaches of the UN Charter. There has been more recent conflict in Europe as a result of Russian aggression. Neil Holland, head of the United Kingdom's delegation to the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe, or OSCE, addressed the OSCE Permanent Council in Vienna on Thursday the 18th, accusing Russia of violating international humanitarian law by relentlessly targeting Ukraine's critical infrastructure and terrorizing civilians. He stated that Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine and continuous attacks on energy infrastructure breaches its commitments to the OSCE's Helsinki Final Act. Additionally, Holland highlighted that Russia has disregarded several core principles of the OSCE, including respect for sovereignty, abstaining from the threat or use of force, and upholding human rights. Moving on, after a 2-day visit to Athens ending on Friday the 19th, Amy Pope, the Director General of the International Organization for Migration, or IOM, praised a major agreement designed to improve migrant protection in Greece. The newly signed host country agreement with the Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs will allow IOM to continue delivering essential services, including protection, health, and mental health support, as well as facilitating regular migration, integration, relocation, and voluntary returns. This agreement bolsters IOM's collaboration with the Greek government, ensuring support for vulnerable migrants and promoting safe and orderly migration to protect the dignity of those on the move. Lastly, in Europe, on Friday the 19th, the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, declared that Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory are illegal under international law. The court's advisory opinion mandates that Israel must swiftly end its presence in these areas, halt new settlement activities, evacuate existing settlers, and compensate those impacted. Furthermore, it stated that no country, international organization, or the UN should recognize or support the legality of Israel's occupation or aid in maintaining it. The ICJ's jurisdiction is based on the consent of the parties involved, meaning that states must agree to submit their disputes to the court. Once a case is brought before the ICJ, its rulings are binding and cannot be appealed, although enforcement relies on the United Nations Security Council. The ICJ aims to promote international law and justice, contributing to the peaceful resolution of conflicts and the development of international legal standards. In Africa, Ambassador Conrad Mederich led the Seychelles delegation at the 45th Ordinary Session of the African Union Executive Council in Accra, Ghana, from Thursday the 18th to Friday the 19th. During the session, Shirley Ayorkor-Botchway, Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, stressed the need to address Africa's challenges and seize opportunities. Meanwhile, Moussa Faki, the African Union Commission chairperson, highlighted the progress in establishing the African Union Peace Fund and securing sustainable funding for peacekeeping missions. Let's move on to Asia. The 15th Foreign Ministers' meeting of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, will happen in Vientiane, Laos, next week and will address critical issues including the Myanmar crisis, the Code of Conduct for the South China Sea, and efforts to maintain a nuclear-free region. This meeting, occurring as Laos's ASEAN chairmanship approaches its conclusion, comes at a time of rising regional tensions and ongoing negotiations vital to Southeast Asia's security. The discussions will focus on preparations for the Leaders' Summit scheduled for October. China's Commerce Ministry announced on Monday the 15th that China has requested the World Trade Organization, or WTO, to form an expert panel to address a conflict regarding electric vehicle subsidies under the United States Inflation Reduction Act. China initiated this WTO dispute in late March after the IRA was enacted, which provides significant tax incentives for purchasing electric vehicles and supporting renewable energy production as part of the Biden administration's decarbonization strategy. The ministry stated that China was unable to resolve the issue through consultations with the United States, prompting the move to seek a WTO resolution. In the Americas, the Pan American Health Organization, or WHO, issued an alert about potential mother-to-child transmission of the Oropouche virus, or OROV, on Wednesday the 17th. It was first identified in Trinidad and Tobago in 1955. The WHO's statement noted possible OROV cases in Brazil and urged its member states to enhance surveillance to detect similar cases in other regions where OROV and other arboviruses are present. OROV is spread through bites from midges and culex mosquitoes. The WHO is an international public health agency that works to improve health and living standards in the Americas. It serves as a regional office for the Americas of the World Health Organization and is part of the United Nations system. WHO provides technical cooperation and mobilizes partnerships to address health issues, including disease prevention, health promotion, and emergency response. The organization focuses on strengthening health systems, promoting universal health coverage, and addressing health disparities across countries in the region. On Friday the 19th, the Inter-American Development Bank, or IDB, granted $16 million United States dollars to support the digital transformation of public management in Haiti. This funding, approved by the IDB board, will help strengthen Haiti's digital government agency and improve the efficiency of key systems managed by the Ministry of Economy and Finance. It also aims to enhance cybersecurity and overall management capabilities across public agencies. In general, the IDB provides funding to support economic development, social development, and regional integration in Latin America and the Caribbean. The funding primarily comes in the form of loans, grants, and technical assistance. Member countries, both borrowing and non-borrowing, contribute to the bank's capital. Borrowing countries can access funding for projects that align with the IDB's strategic priorities, such as infrastructure development, education, health, and environmental sustainability. Projects are typically proposed by governments or private entities, undergo rigorous evaluation, and once approved, receive financial and technical support to ensure successful implementation and positive developmental impacts. Lastly, according to the latest update from the International Monetary Fund, released on Tuesday the 16th, central bank interest rates are likely to stay high longer than anticipated due to slower than expected progress in reducing inflation. This is the key takeaway from the IMF's revised global economic outlook. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much to everyone who filled in the survey over the past few weeks. We really appreciate your comments and ideas. Many of you mentioned you would like to get some more in-depth episodes and interviews. Is that something you would like? Do you have any topics in mind? Something specific about the multilateral update that you want to know more about for us to do a special show on? We want to do some new things very soon. Please email us at info@rorschach.com. If you left an email to contact you in the survey, we'll reach out to you very soon. The survey is still linked in the show notes if you are interested in that as well. See you next week.